Hello from the Green Factor, a show where we talk about green design and the business of sustainability. I'm your host, Haris the Green Carpenter, and today we'll be talking about solar for SME. With me today, we have Noor Shahiwan. He's a solar practitioner and he's been doing this for quite some time. And I love what he's doing, so I've invited him to share his experience and his stories. Hi, Shahiwan.
Hai. Assalamualaikum.
Salam. I think before we go into the topic, for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, can you share a little bit about your journey or and what do you do?
Okay.
One.
Okay.
You can start.
So, all right. Okay, so I'm Shahiwan. I'm the founder of Suncloud Solar. This is our 12 years in the industry. Still small, still hungry, still looking for progress and expansion. So in Suncloud Solar, we focus in off-grid solar energy solution. In solar energy, there are two main subsectors, which is number one is the grid connected, which is if you are familiar with solar farm, building integrated system. So the second subsector will be off grid. It means that the system for places without access to electricity, like TMB. So our ideal customer, let's say in Malaysia, will be in agriculture industry, resorts, vehicles, street furnitures like toilet, kiosks, bus stops, and whatnot. We are also a social enterprise where we have this model of cross subsidization, where when we do our commercial projects, we will follow up with social projects. So if you are familiar with brand called Toms, TOMS, last time they do quite similar cross subsidization, where if you buy a pair of shoes and they will donate another a pair of shoes to the underserved community. So nowadays, our equation, every 1 kilowatt peak of solar that we install in commercial project, we will follow up with 10 beneficiaries. Okay. For beneficiaries in Malaysia, we have classified them into three groups. Number one will be, of course, our brothers and sisters in Sabah and Sarawak. The electrification issue is still significant, is still happening. Second group will be for Peninsular Malaysia, more or less will be more like Aboriginal community, orang asli. And then the final group is the we call it asnaf lah. The cases is not like they live deep in the jungle and whatnot. It means that they are not fortunate enough to get access to electricity. So you might be surprised the places we went. It's like Nilai, Lendu, Melaka, Batangkali. It's not that far from KL. Yet people still living with candle and also lantern. So these kind of social projects that we do after we have done our commercial projects to get the fund and revenue.
I think one of the stories that I remember you posting was a family that doesn't have electricity or light for like what, belas
Hmm.
tahun or like 10
Yes,
tahun?
17 years, man. 17 years.
17 years. Wow. Ni dekat mana
Yeah.
ni? Where is it?
That case is in Gua Musang.
So still there's a lot of places in Malaysia that still have lighting issues. Huh?
Uh, when we say a lot, it's quite subjective lah. It's not like okay. Our official rate of electrification in Malaysia, if you look at the International Energy Agency, if you look at the World Bank, we are classified as 100% electrified, 100%. But it's least the what do you call it? The ballpark figure. The actual will be 99 point something. So we still have almost below than 1% of people of population, Malaysia population, still living without access to electricity.
Mm.
So,
So,
but the I think the lot definition will be on because we are living with electricity. If you look your ceiling, easily you have like 4 or 5 lights, one aircon, your computer, iPad, handphone, whatever. But these people still yet to enjoy one small bulb of light. So that's the difference are a lot.
mm, yeah. So I think when we talk about solar, it's very everyone talks about solar, and normally
Hmm.
on the large scale and all that. You mentioned a bit on the smaller scale where um, less than 1% are not yet electrified. So can you just explain a little bit about the solar situation in Malaysia from your experience, and how is it nowadays?
Okay, so solar situation, if you look from the commercial aspect, I mean the industry aspect, I can say Malaysia experienced solar booming around 2013, 2012. First, when government introduced FIT, feed-in tariff, then you can start to see small solar farm. If you remember, if we go to old LCCT airport, on your left after the roundabout, there's one small solar farm. So the size back then is below 100 kilowatt. Nowadays is 100 megawatt. I mean, people are talking
Wow.
about megawatt. So the exponential growth are really happening. But again, like I said, this growth, I think 80-90% purely in grid connected sector, not in off grid. Because of course in the off grid sector, the purchasing power is not that much. The industry will follow the money, which is in the grid connected. So you see a lot of solar farm, big buildings like airport, factories, warehouses, and also hospitals, school, university. Being implementing large scale of solar, easily like 1 megawatt and above for building.
So uptake is quite high for the larger institution.
Yep.
So let's go a little bit more into our topic today, which is solar for SME.
All
So
right.
because you have experience working with a large organization and
Hmm.
also SMEs, so what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so for SMEs, it is wise business decision if I give you three factors. Number one, if you have a facility, building, be it factory, warehouse, I mean you own that building, because the solar for commercial CNI, commercial industrial, the range is like medium term. We are looking around 4 to 5 years ROI or payback. So you must own that building or you must lease that building long enough to get back your money. That would be number one. Number two, if your current usage is very high, I mean electricity usage, if you have production, because you must understand solar, ideally, if solar can cover like 30-40% of your operation, that will be the nice figure. If solar cover below than 20, the savings are not too big. Even your board or your investor will not be that interested. Or if it's, the savings are too big, like 70% or 80%, normally if we compare the ratio of investment and the ratio of operation, normally the cost will be higher. That will be number one. So number two. The last one is that um, the what do you call it, policy or intention by the company itself. Okay, if the company involved in this implementation of solar just because for the financial return, I don't think uh, it is that ideal for them, because they must have, of course, everybody looking for financial return, but there must be a part for environmental contribution, or I mean, society contribution, because we are cutting the emission and whatnot, right? So if you have these two objectives, I see most of the organization are quite flexible, versatile in terms of implementing it. If you are looking purely on dollar and cents, I don't think solar is the best investment option for them. No?
Interesting insights. So, yes, when we talk about solar, it's electricity in general, right? So, in specific to SME, which part of the business that you think they can start implementing this kind of thing? It's not just necessarily lighting, right?
Yeah. Okay. So solar. Sorry. Just now my previous explanation is more on putting solar on their own facility on building. Is that to reduce the conventional electricity supplier in Malaysia, of course, mostly from TNB. But then when you say implementation of solar, okay, I want to make it the perspective broader. Okay, uh, you can use solar for your own consumption, and you can use solar to expand your business operation. I'm talking about like you have more options. I give you one example lah. If you want to buy land nearby city with water supply, electricity supply to do your business, of course the land will be expensive. But if you have, I mean like land cheaper but without access to electricity, but practical enough to use solar, then it will give you more options in terms of choosing operation site for your business, or as small as making your business more mobile. Okay. Previously, people workshop, car workshop, when they want to service, you must have brick and mortar shop and whatnot. Nowadays, you can easily make like food truck concept where you can bring all your equipment on the truck or lorry, then you can service car at home or do car wash and whatnot. So this kind of flexibility given by solar. So when we talk about solar, most of us will think, oh, okay, we put on our roof, what will we get? If you make it broader perspective, more innovative, I think the implementation and innovation in application is much more lucrative. Okay, let's say IoT. Nowadays, people are talking about IoT, but IoT most of them use sensor. This sensor must be powered by solar. So if you sorry, must be powered by electricity. If you don't have access to electricity, let's say in agriculture or in sports, where you want to pick up the data but no power source, how do you gonna do it? By using solar energy. So it will make your business more versatile. You don't have to see solar. The only application is to put it on your shop rooftop or your warehouse rooftop.
Mhm. Interesting. Huh? I think because a lot of us, even me myself, think that it needs to be stationary. Of course, there are like power banks that have solar panels and then that, but it didn't cross my mind that you can actually make your business mobile. Like I
Yes.
will see ourselves, for example, we do woodworking, so we do have
Yeah.
tools, and sometimes
So,
we have to work somewhere remote or no electricity yet. So I think
yeah.
those are the things that helps as well. So there's a lot
So
of
if you
business
don't,
that can leverage on that, huh?
correct. But if you're talking about small and medium, of course, they must have like warehouse, production center. But we're talking about small and micro. This is where the flexibility that you get. I mean, we, as example, we choose street vendor. Nowadays, we can do business anywhere. Well, you want to do car
Mm,
wash, repair car, change battery, what do you call it? Key making, key modification, all those
mm.
tools. If you want to do, even you want to do mobile
Workshop.
workshop, you can do it. Seriously.
Mm,
So we must look from other perspective.
mm. So thing that I think is interesting to see is the actual application or the project that interesting project that you have worked with. So if you can share something, it can be innovative or it can be like the social stuff and all that. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, so I will share from our commercial projects first. So we have done a lot. I mean, 160 projects. All of them are standalone project. It means that it has battery. Okay, so we have done mobile clinic in big truck, in big lorry, a mobile clinic where you can house one patient and do a very basic procedure. The most complicated procedure like dressing, and I believe they say they can handle baby delivery, but the normal one. So that's how complicated the mobile clinic. Then we have done resorts. We have done um, golf buggy. So many things. Anything that use electricity or use battery that we can power up with solar. But on the social side, okay, so social side we have a list of beneficiaries to be, because we collect, of course, from social media, from feedback customer. So whenever we have the means, we have the resources, time, we will go and serve these beneficiaries. Among them, the Orang Asli community, street vendor, pakcik selling ice cream using motor cart, three-wheel motor cart. So before that, he needs to be close to shop because he needs electricity for lights, and he pays to the shop 50 ringgit per month. But the problem is, it's not that mobile because he need to be attached to the shop. So we make it there his motor cart powered by solar, and then he can sell anywhere and he can chase the crowd. So let's say there's a crowd, queuing for something, or there's a small festival, he can go anywhere. So and the why I like to share this story, because when we started, Pachi only have one motor cart. Now I think he has three motor carts and two bicycles. Uh, so,
Nice. Good
uh,
business.
so so it's a good business. If you near in Damansara Damai, and it's a pulut ice cream. So that's the best thing. And well, we have supplied our solution to African countries as well through NGOs. We went to Myanmar to do rural clinic, rural library, school, and also train station. So that kind of projects we have done.
Interesting, interesting. So, more than 160 project
Hmm. Need
for
to mention,
span across 12 years.
yes, and we have
Uh,
served beneficiaries. I think 1,700, almost 2,000 now, direct beneficiaries.
so, basically, if they don't have solar, another option is gas or generator, right? So,
Hmm.
how does those kind of solution compare to solar as of now?
Okay, so solar, we always need to be practical. Okay, not all solution can be solved by solar energy, especially when application that involve heating and cooling. Heating like cooking, cooker, boiler. So if we can use gas, it's actually more efficient to use gas. For cooling, especially aircon, in certain cases, solar is practical. With the development of inverter air conditioner unit, so nowadays is quite relevant. Okay. But before we talk about solar, when we got the inquiry or requirement by client, first of all, we need to do the energy audit. We need to really understand what they want to use and how long they want to use. So I give an example. If let's say this person own a house in a farm, okay, then he or she will approach us and say that he has like five lights, two fans, one TV, one fridge, and whatnot. So we need to ask how many hours for each application. After that, we want to get the kilowatt hour per day requirement. Only when we get the kilowatt hour per day finalized and mutually understood by both parties, only then we can configure the solar energy system. Most of the mistakes that I see in customer to be, First thing first, they will ask, oh, how many kilowatt or how many panels should I put? Then I will say, I also don't know how many panels. You can put as small as, solar energy is very subjective. As small as your watch, right? It can be solar powered, and as big as the whole country, you can power up with solar. So the range is very big. So the question whether it's practical or not, practical of course, involving the user friendliness and also the cost. Okay, so we even though we are supposed to sell solar, but sometimes if the solar is not practical, we will not recommend it. We will tell it upfront to the customer. Sometimes even generator might be better solution.
So, what you're saying, it needs to be audited one, and then you need to know your goal and practicality, right? So,
Yep.
you have touched a little bit of the point, but right now I feel like I want to ask you the specification. How can we start? So for companies that think like, okay, I think I want to, I'm interested in solar. So what are the
Okay.
things that I need to make so that it's easier for you as well, so that you know what are the things you require?
Right. Okay, first thing first, we will break down this question into two groups. Okay, the first one, sorry, the first one is like if you want to implement solar for your building, because I think there will be most of the questions. First, you need to look at your electricity bill. Okay, uh, electricity bill, the average amount of electricity bill must be large enough for you to implement solar. If it's for residential, if your bill is below than 300, 350, it's not that ideal. But for commercial, I cannot give you any figure because it's quite tricky, because SME, from one shop lot, it can be like one big warehouse or factory. But the consumption must be high enough so that it is relevant for us to implement solar. That will be number one in looking at your electricity consumption. Second one, to look at your facility, especially the roof. Okay, if you have one big flat roof, you are blessed. But if you're looking for like shop houses, nowadays the pattern of the roof, the design, you got roof on top of the roof. So there are so many sides, there are so many angle and whatnot. I might be not suitable for you to put solar. Okay, that will be the second one. The third one, we must do the financial projection. You must really think of the best case scenario and the worst case scenario, and whether your company or your business can sustain if whichever scenario happens. Okay, because it's quite long, 4 to 5 years for commercial and industrial. The payback is around 4 to 5 years, especially if you can get the tax exemption and whatnot, the financial incentive from the government. And to do it, they have nowadays, they call it NEM, net energy metering, or for commercial industry they call it Nova. It is quite a procedure because you cannot just install, you need to apply for the quota and whatnot. I'm not sure how many kilowatts or megawatts are left, but you need to apply first with your contractor to be. This is for own consumption solar energy system. Okay. The second group, if you want to implement solar in your business, okay, if any of your business operation involves mobility, distance, logistics, that you need it to be mobile enough, then you can think of solar energy. Okay. Give you an example, if you have a fleet of van or lorry, so your van might be doing something operational like repairing car or vehicles, so you must have source of power. So actually you can solar power your fleet to make it, you have you have longer operation hours on the road, and there are so many sides of it. The second group, I mean, implementing solar in your business operation. Uh, that topic is quite subjective because we really need to see whether you need or not the alternative power. Okay, for a start, any business that use generator or need to be charged, then we can put it in this context where we can see solar adaptability. Others like we have like solar buggy, no, buggy, golf buggy. If you're operating a buggy, you need to charge after full use. If you put a solar panel, it might prolong the operation hours like 20%, 30%. Again, we must see whether that 20% significant financially for that company or not. Okay. Like I said, for the second group is quite subjective. We need to see case by case basis.
So there's a lot of consideration to
Hmm.
before embarking. So yes, so if you want to know more about solar panels, or if you feel like you want to engage him in one of your projects, do contact him at LinkedIn, Noor Shahiwan. They are also active in YouTube. You see a lot of their content on Suncraft Solar. Do get in touch with them and have your assessment and audit and see how they can help you there. Before we finish the show, any
Hmm.
last summary or why we should look into solar for our business?
Okay. All right. We are being really realistic. Okay, when people say about solar, or you can save, jimat, jimat, jimat. But savings are very subjective. Okay. You can spend 1 million ringgit, but if you get saving per month is only like 10,000 ringgit, it took you like what 8 years to get your 1 million ringgit back. But again, still you get savings every month, right? You are saving 10,000 ringgit, but you're putting 1 million upfront. So it's very dynamic. I mean, you need to understand, of course, lah, the investment, the return, the risk. But again, this is not a new. Solar energy is a matured technology, proven technology. Of course, certain factor that we cannot control, like rain, flood, and whatnot, it might affect your system. And then solar energy is always ready as an alternative. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the technology. You just need to worry about the implementation and the practicality. That's where we need good consultancy or good advice on that. That's all.
Cool, cool, cool. So in order for us to look at solar, then we need to have both. One, we need to be a realist, like you say. We have to see whether it's really practical or not. But at the same time, we can be positive about it because it also unlocks certain things. Like you can be more mobile,
Yep.
you have a cleaner operation. So this kind of things we need to consider before we start doing it. And sometimes maybe it's not even suitable to apply, but at least you
Yep.
know. And maybe right
Yes.
now it's not suitable, but in the future it might be suitable. So it's like
Correct.
solar panels now have reduced in price tremendously, so that
Yes.
means that more people can adopt it. And I think you said ROI 4 to 5 years too, compared to last time. I think it's longer, right? Now because of the price, it's significant, right?
Yeah, that for CNI, commercial industrial, because for 4 years to including the tax exemption given by government, provided you get it.
Yeah. So there are some. Do they still have an incentive for solar now?
I do believe, but again, you still need to apply.
Any specific
Yeah.
agency that you can look, or do you guys do that as well?
It's under Maida.
You guys can help with that as well.
Yes, I mean most of the solar company will help on that, but the application must be done directly lah, from the company to relevant agencies, and it must be certified. I think it is involve like 2 or 3 agencies. First,
Okay.
the solar system must be certified lah. They call it. Okay, must be verified. Sorry, not certified, verified, and then you can apply for the tax. But it is a normal procedure lah. It's not like only 1 in 1,000 people that get it. So it's quite normal. I believe there is still incentive, but I need to check back
Okay, okay,
because
okay.
our customer are all small and micro. We don't do much on small and medium enterprise.
Okay, cool, cool. So, thank you very much again, Wan, for sharing your story
Yeah,
and expertise. For everyone else, if you want to know more, do follow him, do connect with him. He's a cool guy and interesting project. Support his social project as well. So, thanks, Wan, and everyone
yep.
for everyone else. Thank you very much for tuning in and have a green week ahead. Bye bye, guys.
All right. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.